Welcome back. After nearly toppling the eventual Hockey East champions in overtime, the women's hockey season came to a close earlier this month.
Spoke with head coach Jim Plumer to get his takeaways on this past season and how his program is going to attack the offseason.
All right, Jim, you've had a couple of days to kind of process the end of the season here. What were some of your initial takeaways just in the first couple of days after that? And what are kind of some of the things you guys are working on in the early part of the offseason?
Well, I mean, I think the first takeaway is how well we performed in the 2 playoff games, the ability to score 3 goals and, improve the power play and the penalty kill. Scored a power play goal in both of the playoff games, and our penalty kill was perfect. And I think probably the biggest takeaway was how proud I was of the team for never giving up, for the amount of adversity that we faced and the amount of heartbreaking 1-goal losses that we had. We really believed that last week, that week of the playoffs, was the most fun week we'd had since September. And then, immediately turn the page, the notebook comes out, and you're making a list of the things that we need to work on this off season. It starts with, our training and improving, our ability to do some of the little things on the ice, but also in the weight room. And the transfer portal will open, and we'll see how the roster looks for next year.
What were some of the bright spots? Who were some players that maybe were even a little bit better than you expected them to be this year?
I mean, I think the transfers were a real bright spot. This was our first real dip into the transfer portal, and so the 3 grad transfers came here and brought great enthusiasm for being part of our program. The 2 sophomore transfers, Josie Hemp and Ashley Kokovac, really made a huge impact on the defensive end. Culturally, our leadership was phenomenal. Maybe as good a group of captains as I've had here with, and we're going to miss Maddie and her relentless positivity. Elena Tansky, we missed her on the ice, but she was such a huge force. And then, we had some kids that started to develop and show, especially at the end of the season. Rosemary Brochu, Ona Havana. So those guys really were making a huge impact in the playoffs.
What do you kind of hope to take from the last week, what you guys were able to do in that playoff run, and obviously getting a win and being right there with the number 2 seed in the conference, to give the younger players on this team confidence that you guys have the opportunity to go out there and be one of these teams that's competing in Hockey East next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the fact that we were able to sort of peak at the right time with wins against BC and BU and Northeastern. I think sort of not freaking out that we've got a peak at the beginning of the season is important. We'll have another big group coming in, 7, potentially 8. It'll be the 3rd year in a row of that. I think we're motivated because it showed how motivated we were at the end of the season, in a season where it would have been easy to feel sorry for ourselves.
Do you take a little bit of time to try and collect yourself, get your squad off the ice and allow them to rest, or is it full speed ahead?
I think the real emphasis in the spring is in the weight room, because their body takes a beating over the course of a long hockey season. Trying to stay healthy and as strong as you can to the end of the season. Now's the time where I think we have to get after it. And that work starts, honestly, next week. And it goes right through the end of August. And then we get back and we go back into our in-season mode, where we're trying to keep the gains that we've made in the off-season.